to the Malaysian
أشهد بأنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الواحد الأحد الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. اللهم يا ربنا ويا مولانا ويا سميع الدعاء يا ذا المن والعطاء يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا حي يا قيوم يا من تسمع كلامنا وترى مكاننا وتعلم سرنا وجهرنا لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك ما عبدناك حق عبادتك ولا شكرناك حق شكرك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك ما قدرناك حق قدرك. اللهم اقسم.
To the Malaysian embassy. Still frustrated by the lack of information about what happened and by the way they've been treated. The Malaysian authorities have at times struggled to cope with this extraordinary crisis, but insist they've always put the feelings of the families first.
Yesterday's news was incredibly hard for the family members. As our Prime Minister said, it was released out of a commitment to openness and respect for the relatives, two principles which have guided us in our investigations.
More surveillance aircraft have arrived.
Today, the families of the missing Chinese passengers found themselves confronted by a new obstacle, the police. 2.5 weeks of frustration was boiling over. With some in tears, they burst through the police lines. If you stop us, you're not Chinese, this woman says. They set off to take their message of mistrust direct to the Malaysian embassy. We want the truth, this man shouts. Protests are, of course, extremely rare in Beijing. Organised gatherings and shared grievances make the authorities here extremely nervous. The way this protest has been handled gives a glimpse of the control now being asserted. A comparison, were this, for example, to have been an airliner flying from Kuala Lumpur to Washington with a large number of American passengers on board, then the story out of the United States by now would have had at its centre a much clearer sense of what the relatives of those on board are seeking, and there would have been also perhaps much more of a sense of a national community coming around. They would have perhaps been visited by senior American politicians, maybe even the president. We have not seen that in China until today, in fact. There was the first sign today that senior politicians are now visiting the relatives, a sense perhaps that they realise that the pressure is mounting for them to do something. Up until now we have had